This podcast was produced on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation.
Welcome to Australia.
Aussie.
This is kind of tragic.
Someone who is such a connoisseur of reality television.
The content is hideous.
So sorry about this. Oh my God.
Welcome back to The Cringe is Real, a reality TV recap podcast that probes the notion of the Australian culture cringe. I'm Sam Crimean, and it's a lot of beautiful words, but we're just not really getting to the nitty-gritty of it all. Joining me to discuss the final week of Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels is the sexiest geek I know, Max Arion. Max is a researcher, gamer, Dungeons & Dragons enthusiast, and porn star who's appeared in Butt Magazine and various other pleasurable platforms. All of Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels is available now to stream on 10play. Max Arion, welcome to The Cringe is Real.
Hello. It's nice to be here.
How are you, darling?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's been a pretty big week, I think.
It has.
Yeah.
And what has got you cringing in said big week?
Well, I think I'm cringing over the current meme that's come out of Drag Race. I don't watch Drag Race really anymore.
The Plain Jane meme.
The Plain Jane meme. Because I don't really watch anymore because I've gotten Drag Race burnout with all of the many.
Totally valid.
So I dive in every now and then, and to dive back in this week and not really get the context of this meme that is everywhere on my feed as a queer person. Everyone's saying that their therapist is saying it. Everyone's saying,
oh no.
Yeah,
so someone said to their therapist, like, I've had a really,
I'm
dealing with my trauma. And the therapist's like, kudos, mama.
That's the first one I saw. I was like, what the hell is this?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is. Look, it's great to see finally like something interesting coming out of this season. And I knew it had to be like Plain Jane seems to be the only interesting person on this show. At this
but she's
point.
been really mean.
Yeah, which was,
but then
I think it was a gag.
Support.
Like it was gaggy mean.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm a fan. I'm into her. She's she's like a terrible villain, but
like Disney villain, like mustache twirling, or sequins throwing.
She's in on it. Like
Yeah.
it's very clear. She's sort of walking around like side eyeing the camera.
The character.
Like I'm gonna be a cunt today,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, yeah. But yeah, let's watch that meme just shrivel up over the week.
I know. What will come next?
What will the gays look to next? But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Australian Survivor, Titans versus Rebels. She's done.
It's all done.
She's over. What did you think of the season?
I actually
as a
thought,
whole?
like reflecting back on the season as a whole, really good. There was great gameplay early, which is rare in Australian Survivor because of the length. Usually people kind of take it mellow at the start, but there were some really big swings and they got to stick around, and I really appreciated that. It wasn't too heavy-handed producing staying around either. I thought it was really, like everyone was using everyone else's shields. Alliances were quite fluid, which I always like. I hate the mateship alliances of Australian Idol where they're like,
mateship is
blah,
dead
blah, strong.
and we're better for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I really loved it.
I think it's because they didn't cast as many like active footy players this time.
Yeah,
or like Olympic gold medalists.
And yeah, there was a lot less sportsmen, so there was a lot less sportsman team ideal, which is a great ideal to have. But in Survivor, at some point you need to be cutthroat, and I enjoy that very much.
So good. Were you on board with the Ferris Kirby?
It's
fandom?
complicated. It's complicated because I actually liked both of them early, and I was like, they need to actually have a little. Maybe they did, and we didn't see it. A little aside where we're like, we are in a secret alliance. We will pretend like we don't like each other and divert attention off each other in a big way, because you see that in American Survivor, smaller runs and stuff, and I think that was playing out a little bit, particularly at the end. I don't know. That episode confused me because the whole time I was like, why aren't the three rebels sending Mark home? Not Mark. Like Mark or Caroline. Like I was like, why is the focus not on
the fact that Caroline made it
I know.
to the final fucking two? Like I have just been calling her Karen this whole time.
Oh, sorry. So early on, she was saying that she wanted to control the narrative, and I was like, so you're saying you want to be a Karen? Like you want to be able to speak your truth, which is completely fictitious and doesn't reflect the actual events that happened. There were moments where I thought she actually could have stolen it in the final tribal. I was like, is she going to surprise me?
Look, they did a good job on the edit there because normally, and look, it was a fucking landslide, but they did a good job of like planting enough little seeds where you're like, oh, maybe she's going to...
And Mark's little mind game of like, you know what I'll do, but you don't know what she'll do, worked on me because I was like, I don't know what she'll do.
I don't know what she'll do. I don't fucking know. She's a midwife. She's unpredictable.
She's crowning.
She's crowning. That would have been the best line.
That would
if
have
she
been.
was like, guys, it's time to crown me. she does like a thing and everyone's like, oh.
That's another drag race crossover, you know, all the
Exactly.
crowning lyrics. Cat, crown me.
No, I loved Caroline. I like hung shit on her this whole season of the pod. I loved you, Caroline. You were great TV. You were so much fun. Like having that mum energy was fantastic.
And she was an interesting antagonist because she wasn't like muscling her way through the tribe in terms of personality, like making people do what she wants to do. She was trying to persuade and influence in her own way.
And she was consistent. Unlike Mark, who we'll get to today in these 3 episodes, but what the fuck? Like, I feel like who is this person? So, this week, it was like a new person rocked up on set.
It was, I think he got really cocky and he thought he had it in the bag. I think when he won that immunity challenge, winning the 2 back-to-back, he just had his energy shifted. Like, it's all mine. Because I thought he played a pretty good game, but he was I liked his magnanimous energy and his ability to like talk through problems really nicely to camera and stuff like that. But there was a few moments in these last couple of episodes where I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not rooting for you as much as I thought I was.
I know. That's the exact same journey I had. Like from at the start, he was one of my favorites. Yeah. I was like, this guy's
the secret
like,
swimming skills.
Yep, secret swimming skills, secret speaking Thai to winner. I was like, this guy's gonna like, diplomat his way around. And then last episode, he's like, people think diplomats are nice, but they're actually scheming little cunts. And I was like, what? But anyway, should we go back to Sunday night's episode? It was episode 22. Kitty had just got the boot.
Yeah.
And we pull up right after Tribal and Ferris is shitting bricks because he's nervous. He's like, thank God Caroline got the idol play wrong. She played it for Mark and not Kitty, so they got rid of Kitty.
And I think that was a theme of the season: is idols were played for the wrong
people. Not one was played right, was it? The whole time.
I don't think so.
Kind of great though, because sometimes that's the only good thing in the show.
And it's a power to a lot of the double bluffing that was happening, and there was a lot of willingness to flush idols, and people were doing the full poker face and not doing it all the time.
Yeah.
So I felt like I don't know, because the alliances were fluid and the relationships were so fluid, some of the certainty of playing your idol was never really in the game. And I did enjoy that. And I, being on the couch, you were like, you're a stupid bitch. Why are you doing it this way?
Yeah. It would be to correctly pull off an idol play, like would be so hard.
Anytime anyone plays it for not themselves, I'm like, you need
risk,
that's a 5, like that's a passing grade. 5
out of 10. I'd like to think I would do that at some point, but absolutely not. I would last minute I'd be for me. I'd be like, I want to stay JLP, and everyone would be like, ugh. But anyway, so Ferris reminds us he's had an idol for over a month now, which is insane, and he's only got one last chance to play it, so it's coming out. Tells Kirby about it. They're like, we're laughing at this point.
This tribal and the anxiety that it gave me.
Yeah.
Because they were really good at milking the will they, won't they. When, like, I think ultimately at some point he realized that Kirby was too big of a threat and it would probably be the only chance to actually take her out. And because that would be the only reason. Because otherwise I was like, surely it's you, Kirby, and Raymond as the final 3, and it's you and her duking it out for immunity, probably, because sweet Raymond wouldn't last on the torture wheel of death very long.
I'm really mad that we were robbed of Raymond on the torture wheel and Raymond doing the final pitch.
I know.
Like that. What
would that be?
Oh my God, it would have been amazing.
Such a sweetie. When he walked into Tribal, that final Tribal, and just basically skipped and squealed, I was like, that would be me. That is everyone who's a super fan just being like, I did it.
The upside down votes, all of it.
Yeah.
Obsessed. The next day, Caroline's like, look, I took my shot, missed it. She tells Mark that she'll be voting for Kirby if Curbs doesn't win immunity. Ferris is like, I've got some leftover bits from the idol. The packaging that it came in. So I'm going to fake a second one for Raymond to find. This was great. Like
that
this was so good.
That was masterfully done. Like it took the fake idol game in a different direction. Like essentially not creating a fake idol for an enemy to find, but bluffing, like doing it publicly enough to bluff everyone through it.
This would never work on American Survivor, I don't think. No. I think it's like culturally, like, because even at the tribal, Mark was like, "Oh, why don't you get it out, mate?" But he was never like, "Fucking show me." Yeah. Like on the American one, they would be like, "No." They're like, if you don't, they'd be like, "If you don't get it out right now,
you're getting all my votes."
We're gonna, exactly. But they were just kind of like, "Oh yeah," right? Like they just still believed that he found it. I totally misunderstood what was happening at the start, and I thought that he was gonna package his actual one up and leave it for Raymond, and then so Raymond would have their actual
that's
one.
what
And
I thought
like,
as well, because I thought that would lend legitimacy to it, because then they still think there's two in play.
Yeah, so they could have shown
he could have like
the actual one, held it up, and then just like put it back in
the
rest of the bag. Imagine if he did that and Raymond was just like, "No, it's mine now."
I wonder, has that ever happened? I know that they always love to tease the drama of that potentially happening.
Yeah. But
like,
can you hold it for a few days? No, I would never.
Could not.
Raymond pulls off some more Academy Award-winning acting, which is great. He's like, "Oh, this time
Get him
he
in the NIDA program. He is ready to go.
He can do mentally unwell teenage boy, and he can do someone that's just found an idol, like
really well. Maybe he could even like be in a lottery ticket ad. I won. Like, great.
Totally. All right, the immunity challenge is a classic. It's don't let the ball drop on the ground. It's so stressful.
Oh my God. I often am like, I'm often think to myself, I'd be very bad at this. I'd be bad at this. Like it's never, for me, it's rarely ever I'll be good in a challenge, particularly the solo ones. The early ones, team, that's okay. But this one, the timing of it, like...
Yeah. I feel like if you were like a chef or something, you'd be good at this because it's like keeping things up in the air.
A dancer or a juggler or something.
Something where it's like timing and peripheral vision.
Because I could drop a single ball.
So it's all about ball spacing.
JLP delivers some great lines.
Of course he does.
All season. I think
balls are in every challenge.
I mean, all season he has upped his smutty aside game. Like
there was the pole line.
They're flogging their log earlier on.
Oh, that's right. The boys are just whacking away at their logs, and then busting nut after nut in the same episode. I was like, what? Busting nut after nut was like, put that on a fucking t-shirt. And then he had later on, that's 12 feet of pole right there. And I was like, excuse me. It was like, he's grasping onto 12 feet of pole. I was like, whoa. It's a lot. But I love it when the players crack. Like when they crack when he says it, because you're like, yes, clearly everyone knows what he's doing. Oh, yeah. Just slipping through the sensors. It's so good that instead of kind of reeling it back, they've absolutely they design challenges just for the ball. If it doesn't have the ball or a pole in it, JLP's like, redesign. He's like, exactly. So Caroline's out first on this one. She drops the ball. Then Kirby. Then Sweet Baby Ray Ray. And so it's between Mark and Ferris, which is kind of the theme of this week now is Mark v Ferris. And they kind of... this is like really the beginning of that storyline towards the end, for sure. It's intense, and Mark fucking wins. And this is like the June music comes in. It's like, which we get this a few times this week, but someone wins, and then it's like, time stops. Slows down. Everyone cries. Mark is fucking stoked. He's emotional. I mean, they're on day 40... something 42 43 there's no capacity anymore. They're crying if they lose, they're crying if they're winning. There's just tears. There's lots of tears all around. Back at camp, without Mark as an option, everyone turns to Kirby, which I was kind of like, fuck. Same. Her time's up, and I was like, no. It was like we are seeing the like ramifications still of Alex's tantrum at tribal, which I adored, because I love when people spin out at a tribal or spin out at camp and throw paint on the walls. But it's actually really interesting too, because Kirby made some really rational arguments as to why she shouldn't be everyone's target, and there's other people to consider. But it's really interesting how much weight very strong statements late in the game have, because everyone's so paranoid that they're like, oh yes, I completely agree with everything that you've said. Absolutely. Totally. Kirby is so onto it. Like she knows exactly what's happening. There's no, you can't fuck her around.
Bring her back already.
Oh,
I
she's
want more.
absolutely
All-Stars.
coming back for All-Stars.
And
She's absolutely coming back.
I will start picketing Channel 10's offices now.
Haley who? Like it's all about Kirby. She's the new golden child. So she thinks, this is my last shot. I've got to ask Ferris to play this fucking idol for me. He's like, he's like, let me just like run the numbers on that one. Let me run it by
Run the numbers on
and
5
HR.
people.
Yeah.
Run the numbers on 5 people in our tiny organization.
I'm just going to think about all the scenarios. I was like, oh, Ferris, mate. But
I think I think that also reflects at this stage of the game. He's held on to it so long, and it's been, other than Kirby, it's been this amazing shield for him to really deflect votes, even split votes. Like they didn't really split to him that often this season. And so I think part of it was like putting that down and putting a definite safety net for the next week. I don't know. I still don't get it, but I'm just a bit of Betty, I think, because Kirby went home.
I'm bitter too. Particularly in the way it happened. I would like if it was a fire making challenge or something really dramatic, at least you'd be like, oh, she went, but it was like awesome. But like this,
it was like it wasn't a bang. You expected Kirby to go out with a bang, and it wasn't that she didn't bang. It was just that everything else, like it was almost like the wind was out of the sails at that tribal a little bit.
I have a theory that Mark's newfound confidence is because he's skinny now.
He's a skinny gal.
He's a skinny gal, and he's like,
Jim
Lizzie.
Lizzie.
He's like, I've been shredding for Mardi Gras, and I'm gonna be a little bitch because he suddenly, he just finds this misplaced confidence.
I think again, couch psychologist. Unlike Kelly's psychology, I'm doing couch psychology. But I really wonder on everyone's like paranoia at this stage of the game, and then the opposite can happen. People get really confident too, because you had Ferris kind of spinning out because he had to in some way betray part of his alliance or take significant risk, and then you've got Mark sitting pretty with individual immunity, and he's like, I am a god now.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god, wild.
Ferris strikes up a deal with Caroline, which changes the course of
Caroline's
history.
deals go so well.
And making a deal with Caroline is quite intense because she does that mumsy look at you like, yep, and remember what you said.
You promised you'd make the bed
you
today.
Said it's that look. And it's like, few people seem to be able to backtrack on that look. Ferris is torn. He doesn't know who he can trust. We get this friendship flashback to Kirby. It's like, like goes back in time, and we see Ferris and Kirby riding a tandem bike together. So cute. Their friendship is stunning. Love that.
They have a really good sibling energy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they have each other's back, but they also like to antagonize each other and have a little dig. It's been actually really joyous to watch. I think again that's the other sad thing about Kirby going home was not just her, being sole survivor disappearing. It was like, oh, you've been a big part of what's been entertaining for me in the show.
Exactly. Her little bits to camera, her kind of goading people, her just unflappable mother energy. Yeah. I missed it in this last week.
And she's also like, she's played such a strong game, but also the way she coached other people to her point of view. She brought along her alliance with her thinking a lot of the time, instead of just telling people what to do, which we see a lot of.
She's a good politician.
I know, right? Get her into
local
or state politics, maybe even the feds.
Amazing.
Mix it up at that level.
I've heard she's the South Side girl. She's a Melbourne girl, but she lives South Side. I was like, I would have said more of a Northcote Thornbury kind of girl. But anyway,
I'll never see her if she lives on South
Side. Tribal. What the fuck is Kitty wearing? This is when Kitty walks in the look, I mean, she's got the bod. If I had that bod, I wouldn't wear anything, let's be honest. But it's like a leopard print silk crop top.
When it was moving and from the side I was like, oh, and then anytime there was a front view I was like, no, I do not like the garment. I will not be giving the garment points during adjudication.
Go off, sis.
Yeah. But I always love the arrival of a jury member when
freshly showered.
They've gone from like grug in the bush to
like slut.
I mean,
like
just
like
so
full Pens
hot.
party slut. Like they put on so much. It's like they haven't been able to put on makeup for like
And
a
then
month. So they're like, do you know
all
what?
of it.
I'm
full
doing it.
glam,
Yeah.
full Kardashian glam.
Do you think there is glam at Jury Villa?
I reckon there's a glam squad. And I'm not sure. I think sometimes I'm like, there's clearly a barber visited today, but they didn't visit yesterday because the boys all of a sudden have haircuts, but they don't. It's like all at once. But yeah, I think, you know, the jury reveal is a very important moment.
Great. Eileen consistently slayed.
I mean,
I don't know where she got all those
phenomenal
silk looks with the cutouts, but she looked hot. Ferris doesn't feel safe.
Fair enough.
Neither does anyone else. Caroline's like, well, look, JLP, we've got 3 sleeps to go. And, you know, you got to get out the big threats before it's too late. And everyone's like,
I mean, I think this tribal was everyone trying to talk subtly, but really there's no way to talk subtly about what they want to do. And that, you know, they're always funny tribals because it's like, you could just say we're going to vote Kirby when you say statements like that.
Ferris whips out his idol and he's like, look, I wouldn't flinch next to Kirby at the final 2. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. But anyway, Mark does try to get Raymond's idol like out. He's like, come on, whip it out. And then I love this. Ferris is like, oh no, he's got a little thing he wants to do.
which is Ferris, again, talking about sibling energy. Ferris has been like the big brother to Raymond all season. Like when the sick thing, he's like, no, he just wants to get all the votes because no one's ever gotten that many votes since merge. And I was like,
he wants it for the Wikipedia page.
I
I'm
know.
like, what the fuck?
They just think that like Raymond just wants Wikipedia entries and not actually continuing or furthering his own personal game at all.
Raymond's like, nah, I'm good. I'll show you later. So it's Kirby v Caroline at this point. Yeah. Ferris puts on a bit of a show here for the cameras and the jury. And it's camp.
Anytime there's been a Ferris decision, he's really done very good at playing up both sides of the coin. But I ultimately think his paranoia got the better of him. And I think he would have thought, is this Kirby trying to get me out?
Yeah.
And she's
either
convinced,
got the better of him or helped him win $500,000.
I know. Well,
but
that's true.
I mean, look, he still could have won regardless. We'll never know. But do you think Kirby, if the final 2 was Kirby,
I think they both have strong cases, but I think Kirby has been consistently shown that she can articulate what she's doing.
Yes.
The whole time. And like I said, she brought people along in her alliance with her thinking. So you've got a jury of former alliance members that understand the game that she's played. So I think he did the right thing for his game to get rid of her. It just was I'm a bit of Betty because I want more Kirby.
I'm a bit of too. He gives a big long emotional spiel about it, and then he's like, I'm gonna back myself. That's his thing of the week. He's backing himself. Plays it for himself, and then we say goodbye to Mother, which is really sad.
She's slayed.
But she's good about it. I love that they kind of troll us here, like the first time she comes in on the jury, they kind of make it look like she's a bit bitter. And I was like, ooh.
No, but
she so wasn't.
She's so not. And her eyes are smiling the whole time. Yeah. Like they've clearly said to her, like, Kirby, stop smiling. Yeah. But she's doing the full Tyra Banks smiles to camera anytime they pan to her in the jury because she's just, she loves the show and she loves gameplay. So I don't think you could be a bit bitter about it, but I don't think she would be such a sore loser going out when she did and the game she played.
Yeah. Episode 23. Oh. We start at the night after tribal. Caroline is fucking happy.
Oh my God.
She's like, whoop. She's
wine mum energy.
She's like, I'm the last female.
The ladies do love to say that.
They do love to say that. Mark and Karen just rejoice. They are just fucking so happy. And Ferris is not so thrilled.
Devo.
He's really having regretsy energy.
I also seeing them celebrate, like seeing people that haven't been part of your alliance that you know you're coming up against, celebrating at the choice that you made that's probably in their favor would also like that salt in the wound.
And he articulates it well. He says that he knows for a fact that Kirby would have taken him. Yeah. Because that's just the sort of person she is. And so that's why it hurts because he didn't. He didn't. Yeah. But she absolutely would have. But he wanted to, quote unquote, back himself.
He needs it on a t-shirt.
That's going to be his merch for sure. Back yourself. Or no, it'll be a self-help book.
Yes,
King George style.
Yes,
it'll be
Back
It's
Yourself.
coming.
How to survive the wilderness.
Day 45. Raymond has been having dreams about British people.
I love these. They really start running out of actual gameplay content. And then you start getting you just get that kooky music. The kooky filler music.
Yeah.
It's great. It's absolutely great.
Raymond is excellent. Mark thinks he's laughing, like to the end. He's in lockstep with Caro. And Ferris has done a top 3 deal with him, and they roll the
ego
tapes.
is just swinging around the camp. He's just like sucking on a coconut
He's
with
like,
his big ego.
Big
And
man on campus.
I mean, again, he did play a good game, so I can have empathy for his point of view. But it did feel like a 180 from like, I don't know that. I don't think he ever really played fully from the bottom, but from it, like he was a bit of an outsider at times, and I love rooting for that kind of player.
I mean, there was a time where him and Caroline were going each other, and it was like
that's when I started turning on Caroline in particular.
And then now they're like hugging and rejoicing that they've made it.
We've been friends since day one. It's like you both. There was that one tribal where Caroline and Kitty were trying to get out Mark, and it didn't happen because they got confused.
That's right.
Like
that was actually so funny.
That was so funny.
They were like, actually, shut that down because everyone's
everyone's getting confused because Mark's in every conversation. Which I was like, that maybe they're not showing it, but does Mark not trust your alliance for you to have conversations without him being there?
I mean, it backfires for Caroline at the final tribal because she literally, her gameplay style was she gave people fake names every fucking tribal. I'm like, Mum, that's going to bite you in the ass. People don't like that.
No,
that's not a nice feeling.
And like when people say that, like it's really hard to paint the picture that you've played a genuine game with relationships when you haven't given enough trust to anyone around you.
True.
Except maybe Kitty. Like, I mean, they
who didn't even vote for them, which I was
gagged
by. Like, I was actually like,
but
amazing.
I think it's nowadays when you go on Survivor, you're there to play, particularly if you're getting to the jury stage, you're there to play a game and you want the best person to win. So sometimes in those final tribals, if someone sells the dream to you and paints that picture, you're like, why would I vote for I love my friend. Like it's like the opposite of a Relaskatox situation. I could vote for my friend.
True.
Or I could, I respect this game. This is what I'll do instead.
And if you don't, you better have a good branding plan, like Kelly, and have some merch ready to go.
Oh my God.
Or do an Alex and start an OnlyFans.
Her exit is still talked about in my friendship group. All these weeks later, something will happen. We're like, but I'm a psychologist.
I'm the best. I am a psychologist. And everyone's like, this flashback into the whole season as well. Her episode, when I truly fell in love, because I already kind of liked Alex, I already kind of liked Ferris because I love a bit of a cheeky player. Yeah. The episode where it was her son's birthday and she was going full woo woo with. I mean, but what I loved was like Ferris and Alex's almost like The Office, looking into camera, what the fuck is going on? That's when I really fell in love with those boys. Because I was like, cheeky, break that fourth wall, because I need eye contact with someone there. I have spoken with an unnamed cast member from this season who told me that Kelly was actually 500 times more insane than that, and we saw nothing, and I was like, release the tape,
release
Channel
the tape.
10, do a whole recut of just her
Kelly's
shit.
season, because I like her. When she left the game, I was like, what are they going to fill the show with now? Because 20 minutes every episode was circus music. It was great.
I want a season where it's just one tribe is her and one tribe is Alex. And no one else is there.
They're just going to war.
It's called Kelly v. Alex, Oh, fuck. Where were we?
Sorry.
We're tribal. No, we're not.
Derailing you with my
It's
Kelly
over.
recaps.
It's over now. Who cares? Caroline's really proud of her strategy. Of course. And she says that if Ferris doesn't win immunity, he would be very vulnerable, was the language she used, which I was like, Those are pointed words. We get now. This is the double final three deal. So Ferris has got his final three deal with
I have thoughts on this deal
with Mark and his deal with Caroline.
because they talk about the double final three deal, and Mark and Caroline end up talking about how it's a betrayal, but he made the same deal with the same two people, so it's actually the same deal. So you're telling two people that this will be the final three.
I would just bet you didn't read the fine print. My deal was non-exclusive. You didn't
both
ask
are
for
part
the
of the
Yeah,
deal.
exactly. That you didn't get the full terms of the deal. Like,
It was
duh.
wild.
It's also Survivor. Like, come
I
on.
mean, at this stage, you would say, yeah, you just say yes to anything, right?
Yeah.
Keep your head above water. One more day. The game changes so much day to day,
Yeah.
particularly at this stage as well, that like, can you hold everyone accountable to the previous day? And also, there's no one else in the tribe to persuade. So if you have betrayed me, if there's lots of people around, I can be like, that bitch betrayed me. But if there's no one else around, you're just talking to the camera looking insane.
Mark thinks he's fine no matter what, but he still really wants to win this challenge so that he can control what happens.
I mean, this season's been about controlling the game.
Yeah. So this is when Ferris makes the deal with Caroline so that if Mark wins, they're going to send Raymond home. But if Ferris wins, Mark goes home. And I'm like,
Yes, please.
I'm like,
Put some
please,
drama
Ferris,
into the
win.
immunity.
This is where I really thought Ferris was going to win this one.
Same.
And that's what was going to happen. And it was going to be awesome.
But your dreams were
dashed. Unfortunately dashed. So this is the throwing balls at stuff
More
challenge.
ball lines from JLP.
It's kind of basketball themed. So
I
I was
think
like,
there was a dirty balls line when they were crawling under the net.
You've got to scrape your dirty balls under the net. Yeah. There was some really dirty editing of Raymond under that net. I was like, Channel 10, please.
Channel
The
10,
boy is struggling.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Don't bully him with your editing.
I know. He was like sort of like in the net, but not quite moving.
Yeah, when he was lying on the side and he was trying...
Fetal position.
He was trying things.
JLP says, that net is tight. And then he also goes, you have to scooch yourself and your balls inch by inch. And I was
Scooch
like,
them along.
wow.
Where are you scooching them to, JLP?
Mark is like a basketball pro at this point. Like he just flops them in, lands them right away.
There was like 3 in a row.
It was, but they make it seem like Ferris has a chance. Like he kind of edges his way in a little bit. But
And
Mark ultimately takes it.
I think always with these ball throwing challenges, I'm not athletic in any way, but there seems to be like a rhythm where like once you work it out, you get it in a few more times, but then they get panicked, and then that's when it all starts.
You could see Ferris. He was like, he got distracted.
His
He's
hair got low. Anytime his hair is loose, he's panicking.
I know. He looked over at Mark. He's like, fuck, Mark's doing better than me. It's like when they're doing the puzzles, and it's like, don't look at what they're doing.
Just concentrate on your puzzle.
yourself. Oh, Mark wins. This was heartbreaking, and the June music comes back on. It's like, oh.
And he breaks down, but then everyone else is crying as well. He's like tears of joy, and then there is like sadness through the other 3.
And this is interesting from 10. Like, we finally get some shots of Ferris this week, like praying, preparing to pray. And like, look, I just sort of assumed that he was a man of faith and stuff, but we never really got to see that. No. So nice to get there, but I would say 10 a little late.
I feel like they were a bit late to the party with that as well, because it would have been so rewarding for us to have had it the whole time, because it was clearly a big part of his day in the game is going off, having these moments of solitude, and saying these prayers, affirming his faith in an environment where I imagine that would be difficult. Finding alone time sometimes could be difficult.
Totally.
And also he doesn't have a watch.
Exactly.
So like
using the sun to figure out when to pray would have been
that.
Yeah. I saw there was some great stuff on Twitter about it, and I was like, fuck, I would have loved this in the show.
And apparently like Alex joined him and had asked some really like honest and earnest questions about the Muslim faith, and Ferris was like, I'll teach you. Let's go pray
got nothing else to do on this.
Yeah,
and how nice.
That's the kind of that's the kind of things that you love when it comes out, just like, you know, the crazy Kelly tapes that we want released. But it would have been really nice to have seen moments like that.
Yeah, especially there's only
beforehand.
500 hours of this show a week.
I mean, it is so much. That's always like as you know, my issue with Australian Survivor is that there is so much content.
Yeah,
there is so much content, and I know why they do it. They need their quotas, and they need to sell advertising. But when you can watch, I don't know, faster paced games of American Survivor or even South Africa and stuff, you're like, this is a game from the beginning. Whereas at the start, everyone's just resting on their laurels a little bit, and no one wants to be the big fish.
It's a very different show, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
Which it'd be
It's
really
a
interesting if they ever did
personality-driven
like
show.
a international All Stars.
Yeah.
Because it would really, I feel like if it was
That
a
would be
smaller cast,
unreal.
the Australians would be left in the dirt because they typically don't know to play a game that early.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the Americans do it straight away.
I'm really done with Jeff. So
Same.
I would hate if there was an international one. I would love JLB to host it. I much prefer. He's just like having so much more fun.
He's on an adventure with
Jeff
them.
is like grandpa levels of like over it now. Like
he's been doing it a long time. I feel like he just wants to executive produce and be the behind the scenes money guy.
Do you think
but
there's
they're
a
like,
succession plan?
well, no, I think they're like, no one else can do it but you. Like I think that there's that.
He's
does
like
love
Captain Lee on Below
Right?
Deck. He's like, oh, over my dead body. Will you? Anyway. Oh, and then so it's Ferris's birthday as well. So he tells us now that he feels like he's let his community down, and I'm like moments from tears at this point. And then Mark's like, "Oh yeah, happy birthday, by the way." I'm like,
the immunity
evil man. And now he's really starting to regret sending Kirby home because it's like, fuck, like what have I done? The whole point of that was like I was going to win this challenge and blah, blah, blah. And the game for him sort of starts to get overshadowed by something bigger.
Yeah. And you can see that in that moment, his like mental capacity is fraying because he's like, I sent home my mate who wouldn't have sent me home in the same boat. And the reason I did that is because I would win today and I would take control of the game to continue Raymond's journey. And now I don't get to do that. Bummer.
And at this point, I'm just like, of course, Caroline and Mark are going to take out Ferris. I really thought that there was no scenario where he could stay. I was just like, nah, like no matter what they do, he's out. Mark is concerned with Ferris and how he's behaving. He's like, hang on, maybe my top 3 deal isn't good, and there's something else. I'm like, of course, mate. Like he's a great player. Like, come on. So he sees a fire making challenge in the tarot cards.
I mean, as he should.
Yeah.
If you're paying attention, that should be the outcome. I think that's also what was most shocking with, again, because Caroline, as the Karen of the season, like to create a narrative, is her and Mark creating this narrative where it's like, Ferris will definitely side with us. This is definitely happening. And then they're up in arms that it's not happening. Yeah. It's like, what did you expect to do? Because when they go to tribal, Mark takes off his gloves, does a few swings.
Oh my God. Don't. It's so far.
And then they like, how are you shocked if you like if you're treating someone that made a deal with you so shittily? Are you like, should you be surprised that the deal doesn't stand?
Yeah. Well, so this is the moment where Caroline spills the beans to Mark about her top 3 deal with Ferris. And so now he's like, oh, great, I've got a guilt-free way to break my deal.
We've got a double
Ferris.
deal here, so I'll break mine.
It's deal or no deal. And Mark gets fucking so cocky here. And this is when he's like, my plan is to absolutely dehumanize and embarrass. When he says embarrass, I was like, wow.
The embarrass, I was like, that's...
I'm going to embarrass Ferris in front of the
She's fighting
jury.
dirty.
That was dirty, but also like, kind of fabulous.
I know, I loved it. It's the immunity idol, the immunity necklace around his neck changes his personality. Like
he went full burn book. He was like, that Katie Aaron is a bugly slut. Do not trust her. He went full that at the jury.
I was like, but also he's doing that at the jury. And then what I loved is the shots of the jury not buying it. And everyone's like, some of them are glassy eyed.
No.
I think
they're like, bitch, we love him.
Eileen shaked her head at one point. I was like, no. Like it was.
Well, because they're all like, yes, we're all playing the game. Like, come on.
It's crazy. But I think as well, it's, again, it's trying to like, he was almost like, I think that's what undid him a little bit, but he was trying to make his final speech. He was speaking to them too much and not to JLP and like the fellow survivors that were still in the game.
Yeah.
And when you do that, everyone, like, they know what you're doing. Like, they're not stupid. And unless you make a good case, it's not going to serve your own game behaving like that.
Totally. And that's why I thought he was not thinking far ahead here. Like, yes, it might like work in terms of like embarrassing him and he might fumble or whatever. But I'm like, then what? Like, that's not enough to like ruin his whole game, mate. Like, yeah, you need a little bit more than that, I think. You got to appeal to something.
There was no plan beyond wanting to write in the burn book.
Yeah, totally. Before Tribal, Mark tells us that being a diplomat isn't about being nice. It's about fucking people over for king and country. And in this case, that's me. And I was like, wow.
Wow. It was a lot.
I hate everything.
And I think it was earlier that episode, he said, the time for diplomacy has ended. Now I go to war. I was like, he's got a little writing room out in the jungle with all these little zingers.
Diplomacy. Yeah, so I love this at Tribal. They walk in and Ferris goes, hey, Curbs. And she's just like,
And that's when they try and do
smize.
that. They try and like make her look cross, but you can tell like she's smizing. She's smizing.
She's into it.
That's great.
So Mark goes fucking hard on Ferris and Ray, outing their moves. Mark like shames Ferris for not saving Kirby, outs everything,
Which was his move.
The jury just aren't having it.
It was weird. Like trying to shame him for voting out Kirby.
Yeah.
Was a really bizarre tactic because that really served his and Caroline's game.
Yeah,
so it was like you're shaming the move that you wanted to happen.
I know. And Caroline's response when she like snaps her head and JLP's like, "Oh, you just snapped your head at him regretting the Kirby vote," and I'm like. She's like, yes, I didn't think that he still had feelings for her. And I was like, honey, he flipped for you. Like, come on. And then Raymond, fuck yes, outs Mark for playing up to the jury. He's like, old mate's just making noise for the jury. And I was like, thank you, Raymond.
Say what we're all thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mark comes across really cold and unlikable here. And he looks puffy and red. This is the necklace. It changed. Like, it's like it possessed him with a different evil spirit. Like he was, that outsider that I was rooting for regularly throughout the series. I was like, no. I blame Caroline. I will always find a way to blame her. So they vote and it's split. It's 2 for Caroline, 2 for Raymond. Caroline's face is fucked. She's terrifying. Wow. Fire making. This was so hard to watch.
I know.
I actually had to step away out of respect.
I mean, talk about the cringe. Like you're sitting there being like, oh, I really want you to do well. I just really like, you don't have to win. You just have to do well. And I think he tried his darndest. There must have been so much magnesium on that on that table.
And Ferris was like big bro being like, come on, you can do it. Like, I'm proud of you, son. Like, you can do it. And I was like, oh my God. And then he turned into kind of disappointed dad halfway through.
It was like he fully thought he could take the training wheels off the bike, but Raymond was just stacking it constantly and constantly and constantly.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch, but I think about, stage fright and things like that. In that circumstance, it would be so easy to just forget every single fucking thing that you know about. It's actually complicated, about this complicated process, because usually, people that do well in fire are usually the ones doing it in camp on the reg.
Totally.
And I don't want to speak for Raymond's behalf, but there wasn't many shots of him making fire this season. There were shots of him doing really cute stuff in the background.
Yeah, he was good at tripping over things and running out.
And also his Oscar performances.
Yeah. It did, I feel like there was something missing. There was backstory about Raymond that was missing from this season that I think was a missed opportunity. I think it could have really built some empathy around him.
We had so much in maybe that's just me, but there was the moments that they shared were quite endearing. But in terms of his story and who he is, other than being like, you know, the awkward gamer kid at the start, they didn't really take us anywhere.
And yeah, like
I have 500 hours a week. They could do a little bit more.
You're right. I think we can relate. It's like clearly someone with a bit of anxiety or something going on, and it's like, tell us about that. Like, let us in, because otherwise it felt like they used him for some cheap giggles. And even there was even that thing, he made that comment about Eileen sort of halfway through the season, which he was just trying to be funny, but they kind of like put that in there. And I thought that was a bit taken out of context as well. I don't know. I would like to see Raymond play again.
Same.
I actually think it would be a gag and really fun.
And I would love for him to have more acting opportunities in the game.
Neighbours.
Where maybe he could go on Neighbours. But like, but yeah, they're I think that's the unfortunate thing sometimes is, even though there's so many hours of content every week, sometimes you get to the end of the season and it can be a little bit tepid because people are there that you don't fully know their story, and you're like, why don't I know more about you?
Very Channel 10. Like you'll be at the MasterChef final and you'll be like, hang on, who's that? It's like, it's Michelle. she loves cakes. And you're like,
she's
what?
the third blonde woman that you kept on thinking was one woman the whole time.
Very that. Yeah. You're like, who the fuck is she? It's the final episode.
Oh, we're here.
It's day 46. It's a little bit orcs at camp because Ferris is like, soz about your deals.
I mean, what did they... Again, I know I've said that a lot about this double deal bullshit, but what did they think would happen?
Yeah.
Also, Caroline needs to be super proud of the amazing fire she built and the opportunity to do that. She got to she wasn't just a mum. She was a fire starter.
I would have been like, thanks, Ferris. I've got that on my resume now. Yeah. And I'm actually surprised. Yeah, it didn't.
It didn't become that.
But I guess she got kind of red for other things that we'll get to. But so Ferris is on the outs. He wants to make Western Sydney proud. He's doing this for his
and then he's
people.
praying on the stone. I was
hard.
That was amazing.
It was so hard.
Again, where were the shots of that? Also, like they love to show you Samoa.
When he whips the hair out. Oh.
But like they'd love to show shots of Samoa, and the shot of Samoa could be him praying on the cape. Like
maybe they were just saving it.
They were. Well, you know what? It was so beautiful. It was worth it. But I want more.
Caroline reckons that as an older woman, people are going to look at her as she's weak. She's been undervalued, underestimated, and overlooked. And I'm like, do you know what? You are one tough.
That is
bitch.
true. She has said that a lot throughout the season. So
and that she's delivered thousands of babies,
and then she always talks about the 3 births that she's done as well, like her own children.
And she's coming for the crown. Yeah,
but like there is something. There has to be something though when you think about it, surviving that long as an older person that can't up their physical game. The way that some of those young guns can.
Young children.
There has to be something to be said about getting the target off your back, particularly early game, and still being around in the 40s. Yeah. The 40s. The 40 days.
It's awesome.
Right?
If this was American Survivor, it would have been way more like... I was sitting at home on the couch and then I got off the couch and
I delivered a baby and then I put in my submission and now here I am.
Would have been a lot more drama. But yeah, there is something quite genuine about Karen that I did eventually connect with. I think when Kitty left, I was like, oh, okay,
her and Kitty had like this double Karen. They were double Karening on you.
They were.
And you were like, they're going to leave a bad Yelp review on this tribal.
The edit trolled them a bit as well.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
I hope they can... Fun. Torture challenge. This is always the best moment of the season.
They literally show the shot of those torture wheels, and I gasped. I was like, it looks like there's blade. It looks like you're strapping someone to a bladed wheel, and you're just being like, survive, bitch.
It was giving trough party poster.
It was also the trough party aesthetics, but then also like the fire that they put around it is also giving like bougie, trying to be bougie Airbnb.
Yes, or like outdoor seating at a restaurant. Yeah, it was quite chic. Yeah, a little like rubble and a little fake fire.
At first I was like, oh, it looks so lame. And then when they were actually up there, I think it was like it clearly was legitimately adding a curtain of heat onto
and
their
there was like
tiny broken bodies.
Torches there. Yeah.
I guess they do it in case it's raining. They're like, let's up the stakes.
The family members come out. So we meet Mark's wife, Saskia, and you're like, wow. And she's like, you're looking hot, honey.
She keeps on wanting to look at him because he's so skinny.
Yeah.
But
for me, it's the beard. And then he fucking shaves it off.
Straight away.
I'm like, mate,
straight away.
you looked good with the beard. And, she's kind of hot. Then we meet Caroline's gay BFF, her husband, Murray, in those D&G sunnies.
Oh my God, my note for that interaction was D&G sunnies. And they were, the logo was prominent.
I literally thought it was like, she's just invited like some old queen that she's like friends with. And then she's like, it's my husband. I was like, okay, sure. I would, Who would you have come out?
Maybe. See, this is the thing, is that it would be so emotional. It could really fuck you over. Like, probably my boyfriend.
Yeah.
But at the same time, seeing him in that tiny moment and then having to do something so torturous.
I would just give them someone to surround them. It would be like, my old boss from like my first job, or like, I don't know.
Here's my neighbor.
My barista comes in. They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Really miss the almond lattes. Like, just for the guy. Or I would do a Johnny Fairplay and have no one come out.
I mean,
or a friend with a lie about my dead grandma.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, that was Raymond level. Little sick boy in the corner to win the challenge vibes.
We need to talk about Ferris's stunningly hot wife.
So is it
Iman?
In my household, we gasped when she came around the corner. We were like, "Who this woman?" She's and
like
arriving from a photo shoot into the jungle.
She was just so hot,
stunning.
Yeah, the looks. She brought the looks.
Like, so I know I said my cringe earlier in the week was the meme, but my cringe could easily be any time, and I know it's coming anytime in the final 3 challenge when they're like, "And here's your loved ones." I just start weeping like a tap. I can't help it.
I know
because I like.
Because you think like how you would feel in that situation.
Almost 50 days with no one you know around you. And so particularly when he gets really choked up and he starts running towards her, I was already crying, but more tears came.
Yeah.
More tears came.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's playing for his community. It was,
It was, again, that narrative that was coming through in these final couple of episodes was really good. But it, like you said, it's like, where was this where was this earlier? Where was this fire? Because they tried to really paint Ferris at times, not necessarily as a villain, but definitely as like a underdog, dirty, like scrappy,
a little
kind
bit,
of player.
Yeah. When he definitely came out of the gates like swiping everyone.
Yeah, and he did reference that too, but like I don't know, that there was clearly this like gentlemanliness to him as well, and I wanted more. I mean, at the end of the series, I'm on the last episode and I want more.
Yeah, you're right. This week it's sort of like Ferris, the community leader, and the kind of like
it's again, I guess
hot husband.
I guess they lost the Kirby storyline, so they're like, well, this is our other, like the oven is still warm with Ferris, so let's ramp it up.
And so is the torture challenge.
Oh my God, it's so warm.
So 2 minutes into the challenge, Ferris is like, "Fuck this! I'm sweating already." I knew he could do it. Like, I was like, the way he was talking, he's like, I have to win there. And he knew he actually like had to. There's no way he was getting to the final 2 if he didn't win.
And I was only worried when they would show shots of Caroline, who her face wasn't even on that apparatus.
No, she's delivered thousands of babies.
She's delivered thousands of babies, including 3 of her own.
I'm just getting that.
Her like full yoga mum moment of just
she
like,
sent out.
But I said earlier, I was like, when they go to 1 is when she'll struggle, because the boys have the advantage sometimes of having the upper body strength to alleviate for a moment. Yeah. And I think particularly Ferris was doing that. Even though it was more awkward, he was like a big, lanky praying mantis in the torture apparatus. He actually was able to like brace his shoulders up against things, and like he could use his strength a little bit, because sometimes in these challenge, being big and muscly is a disadvantage because it hurts more. But then there were moments where you could see that he was like using his upper body strength, using like the fact that he was bigger than the wheel to his advantage at times. Compared to Caroline, who was just standing there in a pair of stilettos on the end. Just totally chill.
JLP's having a bit of fun. He's like, so how's it feeling, you guys? Like, he's really good.
Anytime he asks these questions where it's like, how does it feel when you're in...
They're like, fuck
so
off.
much pain or drowning in the sea or covered in mud.
Yep, anyone dead? Totally. Mark is struggling. It gets dark and Mark starts to struggle.
They're an hour and a half in by this stage
fucking
too.
Insane. He starts to cry and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Because I think you know, you're ignoring the pain for so long and then all of a sudden something breaks and you can't. And he knows he's going home if he steps off that as well. So that's what the tears are.
Saskia yells out, it won't hurt tomorrow. Won't hurt tomorrow, babe. And I love this bit where he's like, Jonathan. And Jonathan's like, what was that? Did you say my name? He's like, nope.
Actually, no.
I'm fine.
That was
and
such a cute fake out.
Come bring me down, daddy. He finally can't take it anymore and he steps out. Caroline gives him a nod and after 2 hours and 15 minutes, he steps out. That's incredible.
I've worked shitty retail jobs where my feet hurt from being on my feet for 3 to 5 hours, but my feet aren't on spikes in the jungle. Like, that is wild. It's wild.
Mark goes to Saskia, don't worry, I can beat them both. And I'm like, oh, here's that Miss Thang again.
That idol necklace. Idol necklace ego. This alter ego.
He's like, I got this, babe. He did win the car.
Yeah,
so
he did.
This is fucking car curse shit.
Again,
yeah, you a
it's
superstitious girly?
I think I am with the car curse, but like, it's really hard this late in the game to unless you are winning that final necklace, it can really all go to shit.
True.
Like, it can really go to shit. And sometimes being the underdog like Ferris was going in gives you a little bit of that edge.
True. It's almost like why I prefer the final three format because it gives you a little bit more. If you're just a strategic player and you're not good at challenges, it gives you more of an opportunity, I think, perhaps. But
then sometimes the final three tribals get a bit tepid because there's too many people.
Too many people, and you're like, Michelle, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
Like, you did nothing.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad we didn't get that.
Yeah, totally.
At this. No one got like fully destroyed for being a goat. No. Like, yeah.
And I'm all for a good goat as well, because I think something can be said about being a strategic goat and having an awareness to it. The problem is not all goats are created equal and they don't always know that they are the goat.
Ferris wins. It's amazing. Yeah. He does a little prayer. It's his first immunity win ever, and it's the
one that counts. Yeah. And as well, I really felt for him because he'd been like second a lot. Yeah. He never bombed out early or gave up in immunity challenges. He was always like super present and super fighting until the end. So it was also a nice little here's your flowers.
It made it even bigger and better. Mark thinks he can convince Ferris to keep him, and I'm like, mate, remember your performance at Tribal? Like, I mean, good luck with that.
You put him in the burn book.
You literally
you spread rumors about him.
Sprayed venom on him in front of the jury.
You spread rumors about him, and now you want to be best friends again.
Exactly. At Tribal, the jury slides in, and Raymond goes nuts. He's like, wow.
Crazy toddler. You gave the toddler some red raspberry cordial.
Yeah. There's like drawers of Tim Tams at Jury Villa. So no doubt he's just been...
It's like a Qantas flag. Drawers of Tim Tams.
Exactly. Kirby looks secretly stoked as well that Ferris has the idol. So she's doing a smizing.
I think we even got a flash of teeth. She
went from like,
smize to flash.
She's like, Ferris has the necklace. Mark tries to convince Ferris to take him by saying that, look, Caroline's a smart cookie. That, she could easily persuade
You know what you're getting with me. You don't know what you're getting with her. Better the devil you know. And I thought that was a good strategy because it really was all that he could do. And, Ferris has been
Was
pretty
worth a shot.
paranoid week to week. So maybe it could have had an effect. It had an effect on me as a viewer, though, because I was like, wait, I don't know what Caroline could do. Wait.
What could she? Yeah, he actually made me paranoid.
Yeah.
Totally. I was like, hang on. Is Caroline going to fucking win? And then I literally had thoughts of what I was going to do if Caroline won.
Yeah, how you were going to deal with that.
But
again, if she made such a good argument, maybe it would have been fine. It's this parallel universe where she won. But because
we riot.
I would take to the streets. But yeah, I think he made a really good case, but the writing's on the wall, and they have to fill the airtime. So
yeah,
they draw it out.
They do it.
So every time it is the final three tribal, I get annoyed that they go and vote. I know it's the ritual, but they go and vote. They go and walk, and then JLP walks over.
JLP goes, "I'm going to go get that one vote."
Just have him say it.
Yeah, true. But it's the
ritual. I know it's the ritual.
No, I'm with you. Just fucking, yeah.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
If Scott can just get voted out without it, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you can just say it.
Just say it. Or have it, I don't know.
They've come this far, though. They have to.
I know you have to do the ritual, and you have to snuff the torch, and
JLP was like, "I'm gonna go and get that one vote, that tiny little. It's all the way over there, and I'm gonna step over there slowly,
just nudging my balls over to
scooching inch by inch to the vote,
scooching over to the singular vote that I will read out with the same cadence and dramatic pauses of the entire season.
Mark. And it's Mark and Caroline and Ferris are the final two, which it's camp. I'm into it. Great. Now they've got to convince the jury of why they should win. But first they have to do my other favourite thing. They've got to have breakfast.
I mean, it is a little spread. And I don't think they made mimosas. I think they poured the juice directly into, and I was like, I love a mimosa. I was like, as if you wouldn't be popping the cork on that champers first. Like that would be number one.
Well, I'm assuming Ferris would not partake.
Obviously.
But yeah, if I was Caroline, I would have wine mummed the shit out of that bottle.
Wine mum down the beach.
So yeah, there's chocolate croissants. They're totes
Caroline
emoji.
says there's chocolate in it.
Oh my God, there's
chocolate in it. It's like, that's a chocolate croissant, yes.
They get to tribal. JLP runs us through how it's going to work. There's going to be an opening statement, some questions, and then we're going to crown our queen.
He's very good at setting the agenda and keeping it all moving.
Yeah.
He's good. Good management.
It's good. Caroline's opening statement is her tribe was strong, but she stuck it out. Her relationship building's ability was her strong point, which I was like, really?
Was it?
And then she's like, but mainly with Kitty and Mark, and I'm like, okay. So it's two people, one of which you flip-flopped on quite a bit.
It's almost relationship and this other guy that sometimes I used.
This bloke, yeah. She then talks about getting Viola out was her big move, and I love they cut to Valeria, and Valeria's still. I was like, yes. Okay, so Valeria's still salty.
I am. So Val did the drag race eye squint, and they really needed that rattlesnake noise. But also, when I was most upset this season was when Viola went home, because I loved her energy. I liked how she played. And I like Val have been cut up about it all season. So when that was happening, I felt I could breathe in my hatred of that event, just Val was. It was great.
Awesome. She also drops in the fire making challenge, of course, and that she knew what was happening every single vote except two.
I thought that was, I don't know, she kind of put it the wrong way. You should start with what isn't good and then end on the good, right?
Yeah,
so you'd be like there was
sandwich.
2 votes where I was on the outs a little bit too much, but other than that, I actually knew and I voted the right way.
Yeah.
How many times? I would so struggle at the actual numbers of where I voted it for who. I 30 votes. Yeah. I voted one yesterday and another one. That would be me.
Yeah. Ferris's statement, he kind of starts a bit shaky. It's not as he brings it home later, but at the start he's like, he said he came into the game to uphold his values as a Muslim and a Middle Eastern man, which I was like, yes, go get that. he wanted to have fun too.
Yeah,
which I was
and
like,
we
good.
definitely saw
I was like,
that.
good angle.
Yeah.
He goes, I want to have fun. I want to, build people. His relationship building skills were actually good. So I was
I
like,
think
you can.
even though people
wear that.
wanted him out of the game because he was a threat, I think generally people liked having him around.
Yes.
And they were having a good time with Ferris on their tribe.
Yeah. He talked to the misfits that he had along the way, namely Eileen, Ray, and Garrick, who that was a nice way of saying like these people would pretty much just do what I said. Like he wasn't cocky.
He wasn't cocky, and he like even though at times he was clearly the leader of that little gang, that little posse, he didn't. He didn't make it about him at the time, and that was the same in this speech.
The questions we get: Mark first. Beardless Mark, Phil, going, look, I'm just going to give you guys a bit of advice as a former diplomat. I'm like, okay.
So in these
TED
questions,
Talk
just
now.
generally, before we get into them blow by blow, is there was lots of me's and I's.
Yeah.
There weren't questions. There was lots of me's and I's statements.
Just going to let you know, yeah.
This is me. This is my time.
For me?
And I think that threw them though too. When he was dishing out that advice about being honest and stuff, which, I think is...
It was actually good advice.
It's good advice. You need to be honest because everyone, it's their opportunity to call you out on their shit because they will not vote for you if you lie through this process. But I think it actually threw them both. And that's why those first couple of questions generally became a bit tepid and limp, generally.
Yes.
Right? Like there was some flubs.
There was. Eileen, surprisingly, went a bit hard on Ferris. I was so shocked. I was like, what? She kind of like put a little bit of heat on Ferris, which she apologized about at the voting booth.
But there was me's and I's in that as well.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't listen to me when I said to do this.
So that kind of circles back. That was a bit of an unexplored storyline because who was it? Was it Rihanna? No, Valeria accused him of that.
Yeah.
In that tribal where it was like him and Winner and Charles, I think, being like, Ferris is a fucking, running a...
He's doing this, he's
Gestapo
bossing everyone
over there.
around.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, so Eileen saying that, I was like, oh, so maybe he was a little bit bossy, and then maybe he course corrected that halfway through.
And maybe he was learning. And he did say that in his thing about he came out.
Yeah.
He played a strong game. He was a bit cutthroat at the start. And then he learned, relationships are really important. So is my emotional intelligence. I'll work on that. Yeah, so that's good.
Which was good. Eileen's a little salty, but it's cute.
She's in that gorgeous dress.
She looks great. So whatever. She's also been at Jurafilla for a long time.
I mean, she's getting
holding
facials.
On to,
She's getting facials. She's getting massages. She's just on holiday. She's in holiday mode.
Exactly.
And then she's tuning in for the final tribal and just having a dig at her alliance.
Which I would for no reason just be an asshole and salty because it would be fun.
I mean that. I know, like I should want to go on Survivor and want to win, but for me, I'd be like, I really want to be on the jury.
Yeah, it would be a fun part.
I want to ask the catty question.
Do you remember last season when Shani got voted off the jury? And I was like, excuse me? That was like...
Doing that to anyone
fucked.
Generally, but particularly
to
Shani.
Our queen. I was livid.
I still am cross about that.
Totally. He says to Eileen that his biggest move was the idol hunt thing with Alex.
Which was a great move, but no one else knew about it until this moment.
I know, and he probably could have told that story a little bit better.
I thought so too. Like, I was like, yes, that was a really great early game move.
Yeah.
But you're revealing it now. No one knows that it's the truth. It sounds like it's something you made up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also thought that was interesting considering some of the things he has done where people were trying to get him to flush his idol and he wasn't. Like that I guess it was the most active thing he did, whereas there was lots more like calling people's bluff that people saw because they go into those tribals and they're not doing what they expect him to. It was really strange. Also seeing Alex's like full himbo face of like, wait, I didn't find it myself.
Yeah, amazing.
That was great. He's like, wide-eyed being like, what?
Fuck. Rihanna finally like gets a bit cunty and I love it. And she's like, Caroline, I'm going to call BS on your loyalty because you gave me fake names.
Fake names.
Fake names.
You are fake like your fake names
you
gave
fake
me.
like your fake, yeah. And I was like, yes. I was like, where was this all season?
And when I think Ree articulated it really well when she's like, you're meant to be working with me, but you're giving me a fake name. So you
Yeah,
weren't
didn't
working
feel
with
cute. Yeah.
You weren't working with me? Like, you lied.
Caroline's response is literally like, well, the cool gang always knew what was up and you just weren't a part of the cool gang. I'm like, whoa. Double down, Mum.
It's like, take a shit and stare her in the eyes. Like, well, it was a really weird response to winning over, like, changing that question around was just like, well, too bad.
Fucking Queen Valeria rocks up.
God.
I was like, thank you for saving what was otherwise a pretty standard episode.
Also, when we're talking about how glam everyone looks, she is next level. She's glossy. She is glittery. She is effervescent. She basically like floats into travel with this like mane of hair behind her.
There's a filter.
She looks like a filter.
She does look like a filter. I love her questions. They're so unhinged. She's like, so how many votes are you going to get tonight? Which was a great question.
I mean, it's
put them on the spot.
Put them on the spot. Farrah should have said, I think I can get them all.
I would
have
fucking said
like,
that. Yeah.
Like, but the thing is, Australians, we don't like tall poppies.
No.
So you can say something like that and it would throw people off. Whereas Val wanted to hear that, I think. Val wanted. Yeah,
because in Russia, famously, no one smiles.
No one smiles ever.
And if you smile, you are weak.
She wanted that assurity that she was voting for someone that thought they deserved to win.
Yeah.
And they didn't give that answer.
They both did their very like job interview answers where they're just like, look, there will be a number of votes.
There'll be a number of votes that I have in the urn that will be read out and given to me, and I will really appreciate those
votes. I would love them to be the majority of
there
those.
There was a time that I did that role.
So good. And then Val's like, do you know what? The jury have had it. She's like, it's a lot of beautiful words. All I'm hearing is words. But I'm not getting any nitty and any gritty.
She needs to be on a Real Housewives season because right, like that, like she was like flipping the table at the dinner party. She's like, I'm done. And she did have a point though, because again, what we were seeing was like these really tepid, lukewarm responses where you're like, nothing is being sold. I'm not buying the story that you're telling me. Yeah. And these big hits on your resume, I'm like, meh.
I want to see the jury villa like just before they go. Are they like, what are they? Are they just drinking?
Surely they're planning.
They're getting on it, I reckon.
Yeah.
And just being like, hey, who's going to be the sassiest?
Val, you need to do this. You need to ask them
She's like,
this
don't
question.
Don't you worry, I've got you covered. Raymond shuts down Caroline. He's like, so incorrectly playing your idol was your big move.
That was,
and I was like, whoa.
That was again, like a burn book moment. That was very. It was like he was calling a spade again as well. Like he called out Mark in the episode previous. He is calling out that behavior of like, this is my big move. It's like, wait, doing something incorrect is your big move.
He's so sweet and loyal to Ferris. Then we get Kirby, and I'm like so nervous because I'm like, yes, she's been smizing, but is she
smizing?
Is she smizing, or is she gonna burn tribal council down
in her little green blazer?
Done. Then she goes, look, do you think you've played the game with the courage that you've voiced? And he says that it was courageous to put his game first before their alliance. And I was
I think her question was tough. But again, that coaching side of Kirby, she's like, I'm going to give you something tricky, but I know you can do it.
Totally.
And that was very much the energy. She's like, if you get this wrong, you don't deserve to win.
Yeah.
But
he owned the move. She wanted him to own the move.
Yeah.
And he did.
I was just upset that he didn't say he was scared of her. Because I feel like
I wanted him to say,
I was like, yeah, you're a formidable player. And it was the one time in the game where I knew this is the last chance to get you out.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe incorrectly that you would do that to me and I wouldn't be sitting here. And like they can fluff it up however they want, but he was courageous in his gameplay. And I think it was a courageous move to vote her out.
She was actually helping him because I think he seemed a bit stuck with how to answer some of the stuff. And after they cleared the air about that, I think something in him switched and he was able to just be really honest and chill a bit. And that's when he gives his like amazing closing statement where I was
Braveheart.
like, it was fucking Braveheart. He was like, it was cinematic. He appealed to everyone's like sense of
the
fun and his place in the community. And I was like,
yes, just
Give her
knocking
the
it out of the park.
crown. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and then the music, like the heroic, like the music is building the whole time. And it's like, well, now we know who's
Yeah.
going to win. Like,
And then
you
they cut
don't
to
even need to
Caroline
vote.
and it's like...
Bam, bam, sad trombone.
cuts Caroline's like... They vote and Raymond does one last trip over on the way to the voting booth. We all know where he's voting, so we see that one. I thought we were going to see at least one Caroline vote as well, but then when we didn't, I was like, hang on
a second.
Is this happening? The family come out.
And the torches go off, like...
It was... He got every single fucking vote.
Yeah.
How good? Like, Kitty was the gag for me.
I know.
was
And
like,
even Mark to a certain extent.
Yeah,
I
and
hadn't
Mark.
expected Mark to, because I thought he'd be bitter a little bit about going home. But yeah, I think...
It just speaks to the way that Caroline played the game, I think. She played so well, but it was just a little bit overbearing at times and a little bit like...
It didn't have teeth.
Yeah. And she didn't have that, like... Because at the end of the day, people are picking someone to have a large amount of money. So they want that person to be like likable as well.
Yeah.
You got to maintain that the whole time.
And I think that's the thing about the relationships, right? Is like at some point, these people may be the deciding factor of you getting a big pot of cash. So if you don't have the relationships with those people, or you treat everyone like shit the whole time and keep them on the outer, then you may not get the cash.
Exactly. Oh, and that's it. And
the credits come on so
I
quick.
know, and
though.
it's like, okay, and then there's no reunion, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
bummer.
I know. I always love a reunion episode where everyone talks it through.
They should do
But
it.
I mean, we've already endured a million hours of this TV show on stage.
Exactly. Are you watching season 46?
Not yet.
Yeah. I've watched the first 2 episodes and I'm already like, oh god, it's aggressively American.
Yeah,
this time.
I think that's always the jarring thing coming into a US season after an Aussie one is they
whiplash.
It is whiplash, and it actually culturally is very different. Yes, we're both Western cultures, but the way they approach their lives is
and
in their
competitions.
gameplay.
It's just
it's next
there's
level.
a more kind of cutthroat thing about it. Plus that show, like it's 46 seasons old. That show,
huge.
so like there's like layers and layers and layers of gameplay and like how that's
And nearly everyone's
changed over
typically
time.
nearly everyone's a super fan. Not like
Absolutely, and
like-
they go on and on about it.
man.
And they put a Swiftie on it this year, who's very vocal about being a Swiftie. And
so
I'm like,
topical for current pop culture.
but
they
it's
need,
like
they need someone
it's
to
these
talk about the
ones, yeah.
billionaire a bit more.
yeah, very. It feels very like Survivor keeping up with. The
Look,
world.
guys, we're cool. We're young,
Totally
hip and cool.
that, yeah.
We're not a regular.
Show,
we're not a regular
yeah.
mum. We're a cool mum.
Yeah. Oh, Max, thank you so much.
That's right. It's been a
for
pleasure.
joining me. What a great season.
I know it's on a whole really good.
Where can our listeners find you online?
I'm in a few different places and spaces. Usually the best one is my Instagram, which is Max Arion _the pony. Yeah, just stick around there if you want to, see little bits and pieces of my life.
Little? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And that's a wrap on Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a fun season. I've had some excellent guests, and I'm excited to come back in a few weeks with some more content for you. I wonder what shows I'll be recapping. I wonder who will be with me. You'll have to find out. But until then, make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, all of the things. And I look forward to seeing you after my break. Bye-bye.